Michael Jackson. A name everyone has heard at least once in their lives. Whether it was through their parents, through a movie that utilized his music, or even through a dance recital where they used one of his songs, Michael Jackson was a beloved singer known by many. As many of us were aware, Michael Jackson had an autoimmune disorder called vitiligo. This is a condition where the melanin in a person's body is attacked by the immune system, causing milky white patches to appear on the body. In recent years, it has become more widely known, but even with the knowledge being spread, people with vitiligo are still discriminated against around the world. While discrimination against vitiligo is not common in America, many people still experience microaggressions. My brother, for example, has been called Colby Jack, a map, moldy even, and so many more by the people around him. He's had the condition since he was around 5 years old. Now, vitiligo is a complex disorder that has no known origins. And in this presentation, I will discuss what vitiligo is, the necessity for research on the disorder, and calling all around the world to end discrimination against those with the condition. Now, as discussed before, vitiligo is an autoimmune disorder characterized by milky white patches that blot the skin with little to no origin. The risk for developing vitiligo seems to be highly dependent on the genetic history of the family members in terms of autoimmune disorders. Rheumatoid arthritis, thyroid disease, and psoriasis are only 3 of the plethora of autoimmune disorders that can be a risk factor for vitiligo. My mother and father suffer from most of these. Now, according to the Vitiligo Society, there are 3 types of vitiligo. Focal, which is just spots in one spot on the body. Segmental, which is spots all around one side of the body. And then there's generalized vitiligo, which is the most common type, the type my brother has, which is typically going to be seen as a symmetrical pattern on either side of the body. Now that we have a basis for what vitiligo is, let us further begin to understand the necessity of research for the disorder in modern-day medicine. Now, as I said earlier, vitiligo is an incredibly under-researched disorder. In fact, it is so under-researched that scientists don't even completely know what it really is or where it really came from. The National Institute of Arthritis and Musculoskeletal and Skin Diseases states that scientists believe that vitiligo is an autoimmune disease in which the body's immune system attacks and destroys the melanocytes. Believe, I think, is the key word to think about here. Belief is not necessarily solid evidence. It is merely speculation as to what the disorder really is, as research on the disorder is difficult to come by. Another thing to note, that when I was researching for this speech in particular, all the sources I looked at could not decide whether it was considered a disorder or a disease. I was seeing both of them at both times, which is odd because a disorder and a disease are 2 separate things. Now, when it comes to the social stigma surrounding vitiligo, in present times, we have seen more of a spike in appreciation for vitiligo. However, this has not always been the case. In older Indian civilizations, women and their relatives that had vitiligo were urged to not marry. And in Brazil and even Canada, people with vitiligo are not always let into public service jobs, such as the military or some sort of medical profession. Even in modern society, in 2026. And once again, it is important to remember that vitiligo is a skin condition with no known cure. Once those patches begin to show on your body, there is only a way to slow it, but never stop it or get rid of it. Now, to conclude, vitiligo is a disease/disorder that deserves more time and effort poured into research. Vitiligo is an immensely complicated disorder that has little to no references as to where it came from. What exactly the disorder encompasses, as well as the odd social stigma surrounding the disorder, as genetic tests get more and more detailed, it's imperative that we begin to use this technology to delve into the causes, as the most terrifying part of the disorder is the lack of information it carries. Thank you.